Hi there, this is your first English lesson, and I'm Lan. Alright guys, now before we go on, I want you guys to listen to a piece of work by a Russian writer. And answer the questions please. Whose work do you think it is? And what's the name of the work?
I loved you, any baby, from my soul. The former love has never gone away. But let it not recall to you, my doll. I wish not sadden you in any way. I loved you silently, without hope, fully. In diffidence, in jealousy, in pain. I love you so tenderly and truly, as let you else be loved by any man.
Okay, now whose work do you think it is? And the name of the work? There you go. This is Alexander Pushkin. And the name of the work is I Loved You. There you go. You could also read as well. I loved you, and it may be from my soul. The former love has never gone away, but let it not recall to you, my doll. I wish not sadden you in any way. I loved you silently, without hope fully. In diffidence, in jealousy, in pain, I loved you so tenderly and truly, as let you else be loved by any man. Well, actually, this is a translated version by Evgeny Bonover, as you can see here. I will carry on. Work. There are lots of works by Pushkin. Work is something created as a result of effort, as a result of effort, especially a painting, book, or piece of music. In our context, it's about books and writings. Collocation, works of someone. There are poetic works of Pushkin. Smooth out. How should we smooth it out? Smooth it out. Smooth out. Smooth out is to reduce the difficulties or change in a process or situation. Collocation, to smooth out a situation. To smooth out a situation. He smoothed out the situation. Abandon. They abandoned this place long ago. Abandon. Abandon means to leave a place, thing, or person, usually forever, that you will never come back. Collocation, to abandon a place. To abandon a place. This place was abandoned. Peasant. It's about peasant life. Peasant, a member of a low social class of farm workers and owners of smaller farms. Collocation, peasant life. He described peasant life. Landlord. The landlord of the house is not here. Landlord is the person who owns a building or an area of land and is paid by other people for the use of it. Collocation, landlord of houses. He also describes lives of landlords. Fancy. You are interested in fancy lives. Fancy means beautiful and expensive. Collocation, fancy social lives. Example, he also described fancy social lives. Noble. There were noble families. Noble, belonging to a high social rank in a society special by birth. Collocation, noble family. He also described noble families. Compulsive. She's a compulsive shopping goer. Compulsive. Having a very strong desire to do something repeatedly. This is when you always want something. Collocation, compulsive person. He was a compulsive duelist. Wound. He's got a wound. He's got a wound. Wound. A damaged area of the body, such as a cut or hole in the skin or flesh made by a weapon. Collocation: gunshot wound. He died because of a gunshot wound. Alright now guys, we'll be reviewing some past simple tense. If you read the sentence, they were in Russia in 1700, or he worked as an assistant, she didn't like it. Here we've got the structures of the sentence. First, they were in Russia in 1700. They were. We have they subject and was were. 2. He worked as an assistant. He worked as an assistant. Again, as you see, we've got he subject and the verb work and the ending ed. He worked as an assistant. 3. She didn't like it. She didn't like it. She is the subject of the sentence. Didn't. This is when we use for negative meaning. And then we've got like verb. So, in short, we use the past simple for finished action in the past and repeated action in the past. I want you to read the sentence. They were playing. They were playing. Subject plus was, were plus verb ing. He was working as an assistant. The same structure. 3. She wasn't going shopping. She wasn't going shopping. Subject plus wasn't or weren't plus verb ing. She wasn't and she wasn't going shopping. We use past simple continuous for an action in progress at a specific time in the past, or describing an action. I want you guys complete the sentence with correct past simple continuous forms. Please use words in brackets. You have a minute. Okay, taking them all together. Number 1, he worked for a year with his brother. 2, I wasn't working when my boss walked in the office. I wasn't on Facebook. 3, I saw a car crash when I was waiting for the taxi. 4, Tom had long hair and beard when he was at university. 5, it started snowing while I was driving to work. Number 6, what were you doing this time last year? 7, I didn't call you at 9 o'clock as arranged because I was having a meeting. 8, I was still sleeping when my wife left for work this morning. Right now I want you guys read an article about Pushkin and then do the task on the next slides. Okay, there's the text and you'll have 1 minute to read all. Okay, we'll continue. Now I want you to answer the questions. When was he born? What kind of family was he from? Did he start at school? Okay, number 1. On the 6th of June in 1799. What kind of family was he from? 2. Poor aristocratic family. 3. Did he start at school? At home and schools. Right now I want you to do the article again and then do the other task. You will have again 1 minute. Now this time as you read the article, you should mark the sentence T for true or F for false. All in all, you've got a minute again. Let's check them all together. Number 1, he was born in St. Petersburg. It's false. He was a descendant of a noble family. True. 3, Pushkin's sister was a granddaughter of a cannibal. False. He went to French school. 4. False. 5, at school he liked only French and Russian literature. True. Number 6, his first poem was published when he was 14. True. 7, Pushkin was happy with Natalie. False. He was a compelling person in duels. That's true. Now, I want you guys to draw your attention into this part, how to write a biography. In fact, it's very simple. You could write them in multi-paragraphs, also only in 3 paragraphs, for short. In the first paragraph, in green you see the color. You should be writing where and when he or she was born and his or her early life. Second paragraph, you should mention his or her life as a young person And then, lastly, you should mention his or her later life and further information about him or her. This is how you can write the biography in 3. And now, I want you guys to listen to a piece of listening and then answer the questions in the next slide. Okay, there you go. Listen, please.
Pushkin is our everything. We still care about his relations with the authorities, his spiritual search, and even family life. But his main work was the creation of the Russian language. He managed to smooth out the gap between high literature and ordinary speech, thus ending the language reform started by Peter I. Pushkin abandoned the sonorous style in literature. He used very simple language to describe grand things. He was the first to introduce the mundane subjects into literature: the peasant life, daily life of landlords, habits of fancy socialites. Pushkin was a true linguist. He used dialects, lively speech. He introduced the folklore to the sophisticated readers, fairy tales, epic and folk songs. In many ways, it was Pushkin who created the Russian literary language. Traditionally, people do not speak a literary language, but speaking always relies on it as a standard. Therefore, the language we speak today was largely created by Alexander Pushkin.
Okay. What can you remember about the audio? About Pushkin's life, his works? Well, of course, if you do, that's brilliant. Now, this time you should listen to this piece of listening about Pushkin again, and then answer the following questions, 1 to 5. Number 1, is he still important in Russian literature? 2, what kind of language did he use? 3, what did he write about? 4, did he use dialects in his works? And 5, what did he do as a great influencer? Please listen.
Pushkin is our everything. We still care about his relations with the authorities, his spiritual search, and even family life. But his main work was the creation of the Russian language. He managed to smooth out the gap between high literature and ordinary speech, thus ending the language reform started by Peter I. Pushkin abandoned the sonorous style in literature. He used very simple language to describe grand things. He was the first to introduce the mundane subjects into literature: the peasant life, daily life of landlords, habits of fancy socialites. Pushkin was a true linguist. He used dialects, lively speech. He introduced the folklore to the sophisticated readers, fairy tales, epic and folk songs. In many ways, it was Pushkin who created the Russian literary language. Traditionally, people do not speak a literary language, but speaking always relies on it as a standard. Therefore, the language we speak today was largely created by Alexander Pushkin.
Okay, answering the questions. Number 1, yes, he is. He is still important. 2, simple and literal language. Simple and literal language. 3, peasant and landlord's lives, or in daily fancy social life. Did he use dialects in his works? 4, yes, he did. And 5, what did he do as a great influencer? He improved and created modern Russian language. Now, this is the end of the class. This is the end of our class. Well, thank you for your attention. I'll catch you next time.